Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see, and have not seen it. To hear what you hear, and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise, and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
Shots fired in the middle of Manhattan during rush hour. 3 cops hurt, including one seriously injured with a slash to his face after a man goes on attack with a meat cleaver.
Police say the suspect, Akram Joda, seen here being taken away on a stretcher in this video obtained by WABC, attacked an off-duty detective with an 11-inch cleaver after police confronted him for trying to remove a boot from his car.
As we were pursuing him, and we have video of the incident, he has the cleaver in his hand and you can clearly see it, and he's waving it around.
A nearby officer using a taser to try to take the man down, but when that didn't work, cops shot the suspect.
Well, the FBI is calling a stabbing spree at a Minnesota mall Saturday night a potential act of terrorism.
Armed with a knife and dressed in a private security uniform, police say the attacker inside this Minnesota mall left 9 people wounded in his path. The ordeal sent shoppers at the St. Cloud Mall scrambling for safety, and investigators trying to determine if it was carried out by an ISIS-connected or inspired terrorist. An Islamic State-run news agency is calling the attacker a soldier of the Islamic State. Law enforcement sources described him as a 20-year-old Minnesota man. Officials say he mentioned Allah during the spree and asked people if they were Muslim before deciding whether to attack. Authorities are crediting an off-duty police officer for saving lives, who shot and killed the man as the attacker was coming at him.
It all began at 9:30 on a sunny Saturday morning in Seaside Park, New Jersey. Runners gathering for a charity run for the Marines. Then an explosion ripping apart this garbage can. The runners saved because the race had been delayed.
Shut down the run, get him out of the boardwalk.
Sources telling ABC News 3 pipe bombs tied together were to detonate at the start of the race. Hours later, in nearby New York City, another blast, shattering the joy of a Saturday night.
We heard like this huge explosion, like the ground shook and like windows shook.
There was big black clouds like smoke.
Surveillance videos like this one showing a man dropping something near the dumpster in the New York City neighborhood of Chelsea. This time, 29 people are injured. Mass casualties averted again because the bomb is placed under or near a dumpster which absorbs a bulk of the shrapnel.
Israeli forces say they've killed 4 Palestinian assailants in the West Bank in the past 2 days. The Israeli military says its troops shot dead a Palestinian who stabbed an Israeli soldier during a routine security check in the city of Hebron on Saturday. On Friday, 3 Arabs were killed after allegedly attacking Israelis in Hebron and East Jerusalem. The West Bank has been under Israeli military occupation since Israel invaded the territory nearly 50 years ago. UN Chief Ban Ki-moon has said that Israel must end the occupation and the expansion of illegal settlements.
Well, here in China, China's Meteorological Authority has issued a yellow alert for Typhoon Malakas, forecasting strong winds and heavy rain. It is the 2nd typhoon to hit China in a week. The 16th typhoon this year has brought heavy rain and strong winds to the north of Taiwan. Heavy rain is forecast to sweep through parts of Zhejiang and Fujian provinces on the Chinese mainland over the weekend, with up to 120 millimeters of rain. Typhoon Malakas follows Typhoon Meranti, which made landfall early on Thursday, leaving at least 14 people dead and 14 missing in southeastern regions of China.
The Pentagon says that a tank and several vehicles near Deir ez-Zor airport had been identified as an ISIS target, but that was wrong. When the Russians called to say coalition strikes had actually hit the Syrian army instead, The mission was stopped right away. But by then, say the Syrians, more than 60 of their soldiers were dead and more than 100 wounded. On the streets of Aleppo, people who get their news from Syrian state TV believe the strikes are proof of a great conspiracy. Mohammed Attal isn't shy about saying it. Of course, the U.S. is supporting ISIS, he tells us, using the Arab word for the group Daesh.
So why have Americans been dropping bombs on Daesh?
Oh, he says, that's just for show. Crazy as it sounds, that's what Syrian soldiers who wouldn't go on camera told us too.
On to our next story. Clashes have broken out between Indian soldiers and gunmen in Kashmir near the line of control with Pakistan. At least 17 soldiers and 4 gunmen are killed in the violence. The skirmishes started after the gunmen attacked an Indian Army headquarters in the northern town of Uri, according to the Indian Army. The clashes continue with intense firing and explosions at the camp. The Army has deployed helicopters to evacuate dozens of soldiers injured in the attack. Army sources say the number of casualties may rise. The incident is said to be the most serious such attack in the Kashmir region over the past 2 years. Kashmir lies at the heart of a bitter territorial dispute since India and Pakistan became independent in 1947. An estimated 500,000 Indian troops are currently deployed in the rest of the region.
Well, the ceasefire in Syria has collapsed. The Syrian military announced its return to battle today, and within hours, airstrikes were hammering the city of Aleppo.
Just after the Army's announcement, as we watched a student party from a rooftop, the war officially restarted. Those are Syrian Army rockets falling on the opposition side of the city. The collapse of the ceasefire will hurt civilians on both sides. While it lasted here in government-controlled Aleppo, doctors could once again concentrate on routine injuries. Like this little one who was in a car accident. But now people maimed by mortars or, like this patient, sniper bullets will start to flood in again.
Many Israelis are wondering if they're at the beginning of a new wave of terror attacks. Another stabbing Monday morning near Jerusalem's Old City left 2 Israeli police officers seriously wounded. The Palestinian attacker was shot and critically injured. Over the weekend, there was a surge in stabbing and ramming attacks in Jerusalem and Judea, also known as the West Bank. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said with the upcoming Jewish holidays in 2 weeks, there's been an increase in terror attacks, along with mortars from the Syrian civil war falling on the Golan Heights. About this time last year, Palestinians unleashed a brutal wave of terror attacks against Israelis. It took security forces months to bring it under control.
United Nations shut down all aid shipment to Syria this morning after a convoy was hit by an airstrike. The Syrian Red Crescent says the overnight attack killed its top official in that location.
Shortly afterwards, an airstrike hit the aid convoy.
This is the warehouse of the Syrian Crescent. Abroad this house were more than 20 vehicles, 20 trucks full of food and flour and medicine and bombers and blankets.
And the Red Crescent warehouse where it was unloading humanitarian relief. A rescue worker was among the first to arrive on the scene.
You see, bombers as a aid, bombers, aid from the UN.
Earlier in the day, the Red Crescent had announced they were sending 31 trucks of aid into opposition territory west of Aleppo. 12 people are reported to have been killed, most of them convoy drivers and humanitarian workers. There was even more civilian carnage inside opposition-held Aleppo last night. Activists report at least 45 dead, including several women and a child.
French authorities have just made 8 new arrests in the terrorist attack on Nice earlier this year. All of the men arrested are Tunisian and French and are tied to the Bastille Day truck attack that left 86 people dead.